All right, here's a question for you. Are you a woman looking for that competitive edge to getting ahead in the business world? Have you thought of going overseas, perhaps? Well, that's the premise of a new book, Get Ahead by Going Abroad. The author, Stacie Berdan, joins us now from New York with more on that. So just how big a trend is this, women going overseas to get ahead?
Yes, well, it is a growing trend, and women can accelerate their careers by going overseas, because what happens is you broaden your professional capabilities and stimulates personal growth. For example, you're given more responsibility overseas at an earlier time, which ends up leading to increased recognition, promotions, and salary pay raises, and it ends up helping women actually accelerate their careers as they end up either moving on to another country or back onto their home country as well.
But what sort of numbers are we looking at here? I mean, is this just a very small portion of women and men, of course, doing it, this going out of the country and presumably coming in the other direction too?
Absolutely. It is actually a global trend, and actually for U.S. numbers specifically, there are about 500,000 employees every year that actually go abroad, and those numbers are on the rise, 20–30% increases over the last few years alone. And of course, it is a global trend as well. And in the research that we did for our book, actually, with the 200 women that we surveyed, 35% of those women were actually from non-U.S. based countries who worked in the U.S., because it is still one of the most important markets to work in if you're not American, as well as other countries such as Brazil, India, China as well.
And why have you chosen to specifically focus on women? Because, of course, it's a trend for both men and women right across the globe.
Yes, of course it is. And 80% of our book actually applies to men as well. But when we did our research, what was fascinating, the big aha for us, was that women actually have these skills and traits such as communication, listening, nurturing skills, the way we build teams and relationships are really critical to cross-cultural success. And those are the things that actually women have and women do well as well. And my co-author and I are women, so we really wanted to help other women get a leg up.
All right, so once a woman decides, yes, I need to go overseas to increase my opportunities here, what does she need to do?
Well, there are lots of tips in our book, but a couple that I want to actually think that I want to give you that are very important are, one, make sure that you do your research, that you know where you're going, that you learn and find out about politics, geography, religion, culture, because the better prepared you are, the better job you'll do once you're on the ground there. Two is don't underestimate the important little things such as healthcare, housing, banking. For example, HSBC Premier has a fantastic new banking service that actually treats you like a local customer in 35 countries around the world, enabling you to set up things like cash accounts as well as credit cards no matter where you go, which is critical to survival when you're traveling in a foreign market. Three is make sure that you know what your roles and responsibilities are, because that can get confused when you kind of fly from one spot, headquarters, to the other. You need to make a great time enjoying yourself while you're there.
Yeah, that's key. All right, Stacie Berdan, thank you so much for talking with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, I'm Rosemary Church. World Sport is just ahead with all the action from the Rugby World Cup final. But first, of course,
I can get confused when you kind of fly from one spot, headquarters, to the other. You need to make a great time enjoying yourself while you're there.
Yeah, that's key. All right, Stacie Berdan, thank you so much for talking with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.